guys, first off, as always, good day. Glad you're here. So today, we're going to be talking about, this is going to be kind of a short lesson, but we're going to be mainly talking about the Jewish religion, because believe it or not, they play a significant role when it comes to world history. And then when we get on to later events, the Crusades, World War II is a big one. You'll see that between that time, between now and then, that the Jewish people have been discriminated against all across the world throughout time. And so it's important that you know a little bit about them, what they're about, and things like that. And just keep in the back of your mind, because the thing is, as like I said, we go on, you're going to hear me talk about these Jewish people were persecuted here, they were tortured here, they were, like the Inquisition. That was a bad time too. So this is just giving you background knowledge on them, and so you can know who they are, things like that. And then when we get to the end of the school year, you'll have a better understanding. Okay, so let's continue. So again, your essential questions: how would the world be like if we didn't have the writing system? What are some benefits and problems to creating a city by a river? And can a large amount of people live together without laws? Okay. Again, one of those questions more likely will be on your first test, so you're going to need to learn about this stuff and keep in the back of your knowledge. If you're taking notes, awesome, and you can use your notes on your test. You can help you out with your essays. So today, the objective is to formulate an idea on how the Jewish faith can be traced back to the top two religions in the current world. Okay. Then we're going to critique on what characteristics does a good leader, king, queen need. Okay. Now that one's going to be more in the classroom. So when you get to it on this video, if you missed class, you're going to have to create a list. Okay. Of characteristics, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so next one. So you have your Google Doc. You should have it right alongside this YouTube video, and that way you can work on it. So here's the picture, and it says it's called monotheism, but it looks like downsizing to me. So if you know about the Greek and Roman gods, there you go. If you don't know what the word monotheism means yet, you will. Okay, so you can always go back to it, and answer the questions on this if you don't know what monotheism means. But like I said, you will learn later on in this class. So if you're writing, go ahead and keep writing. If not, we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. So the Israelites. Now, Judaism. Thing is, a lot of people think, oh, it's just like either it's a religion or it's a group of people. But the thing is, it's both. All right, it's a religion and it's a race of people. Now, the thing is, I've had students in the past ask me, can you be Jewish without being in that race? Yes, you can follow the Jewish religion. There's a lot of people who've followed the Jewish religion and they're not blood Jewish. They're like African American, they're Europeans, they're things like that. They're different races, different creeds and things like that, but they follow the Jewish religion and they're Jewish. Okay, now the blood Jewish people, that's something else. Okay, and also not every person who's blood Jewish is Jewish. Some of them are Christians, some of them are Muslims, some of them are whatever other religion. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to be that religion. Okay, so it's important to know that. They've influenced other religions, Christianity, Catholics, the Muslims, Islam. Yeah, they've influenced them. Now their language is called Semitic. All right, that's their language. Now, the thing is, most of their history is recorded in the Hebrew Bible, which is known to Christians and Catholics as the Old Testament. So the Genesis and Psalms and all that. I believe Psalms. Yeah, I think the question is almost it's Old Testament. I have to double check, but I'm almost positive that they are Old Testament. You know, the stuff with Sodom and Gomorrah and things like that. That is old school. The story of Moses, Noah, things like that. That's Old Testament. Now, in this time, there's this king. One of the most popular kings was King Solomon. That's a picture. Actually, it's a water. No, I think I forgot what that type of glass is called. Um, but it's a depiction of King Solomon. Uh, he's ruled the Israelites, and he basically controlled all the land, and he called it Israel. And the headquarters, the capital town, was called Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem is going to play a huge role in world history. Okay, I mean, massive. The Crusades alone, it's the center point of the whole story of the Crusades, the Holy Land. So um, that's something you should really keep in the back of your mind as we go on, in the class and stuff like that. Okay. Now, don't forget before I move on, if you need to pause the video to write down the notes and stuff like that, by all means do it. But again, don't write it word for word. Okay. Now, Jewish people, they are monotheistic. Okay, which means they only believe in one God. So that's what it means. Mono, which means one, and theism, which means God. Study of God. So monotheism, belief in one God. Now the thing is, a lot of religions back then, at that time, like the Egyptians and there's some other older religions. They basically believed that there was a God for every element, everything. Like the Greeks and Romans, some of that, they believed that there was the thunder god Zeus, that the god of the sea, Poseidon, things like that. Um, Egyptians, the sun god Ra, stuff like that. So they believed that there was a god for everything. Like when the winds came, that was the gods being angry at them, and when it rained hard, oh, the god of rain is, they're mad at them, and the god of the river, is punishing them. And Judaism is like, no, there's only one God, and that God controls it all. Okay. This was very hard for a lot of people to believe. They're like, how can one God control all this stuff? So there was kind of a little. Those people are kind of, one God, really. Again, you have to think like how they did back then. All right. So the Jewish people, they believe that when Moses led the Jewish people out of Egypt, that God made a contract with him. Basically, here are my rules. This is my rules. I want you guys to follow. And if you've ever seen on Easter Sunday, the Ten Commandment movie with Charlton Heston, this story already. If you've been to First Communion, you've done your communion stuff, or you go to church, you may have heard the story already. But the thing is, God gave Moses like these 10 rules and stuff like that, and some of them are like, don't steal, don't kill, you know. So that's what they believe, all right? But they also believe that God sent religious teachers and prophets to be his voice on earth. Now, this is going to continue on, not just in the Jewish religion, but also the Christian and the Muslim. Okay? All the Muslim, Christian, they all get their stuff too. They stem from the very beginning with Jewish religion, the Old Testament stuff, the Hebrew Bible. They all start from there and then they grow. They each take from one another. And they all grow from the Jewish religion. Okay. All right. So now here's my question to you. Why do you think that a lot of people in the past had trouble believing in one God, as opposed to having a God for like everything from, like I said, the wind, the rain, the sun, clouds, the earth, volcanoes, things like that. So why do you think they had trouble believing that it's just one God as opposed to many? Okay, so be sure you write that down. Again, use you know your knowledge on how to write a proper sentence. Remember, don't start because or well, I think. Remember, use the question to help you out. I think that the people in the past had trouble believing in one God because, okay, you saw how I did that so easily? You can do that too, okay? So go ahead, write. We're going to be moving on in three, two, one. Pause the video if you're not finished. We're moving on. So, the Assyrian Empire. We're going to be talking about some empires that came and gone, specifically one, Babylon. We're going to be talking about that. But the Assyrian Empire, they used terror, and they were really warlike people. This might be one of those questions on your test. What kind of people were the Assyrians? Were they explorers? Were they, philosophers? Things like that. No, they were warlike people. Okay. They destroyed structures, towns, and they looted what they could. They didn't leave anything behind, which a lot of historians believe, there was a lot of information those towns and cities probably had, scrolls that told the history that other places didn't have, and they destroyed it, you know. So who knows what we could have already known or progressed had these people not destroyed records, destroyed knowledge. Now, Nebuchadnezzar II, he rebuilt Babylon into the center of the empire. Okay, thing is, it would collapse in 539 BC. It'll be sometime later. Then the Persian Empire started growing. They were a nomadic group. Again, you should know what the word nomadic means, or nomads. You should know what that word means by now. Excuse me. But the thing is, they were unified, okay, under one leader. His name was Cyrus. That's a little depiction of him, right? Did he look exactly like that? Probably not, but close, you know, um, maybe. So Cyrus captured Babylon. Okay. Now the thing is, people knew Cyrus as the Great. Right. He was not only was he a really effective leader, he was known as being wise and merciful. He wasn't those kings or leaders who was like, oh, I'm the top guy. Oh, you don't like what I say? You die. Go by. Go kill him. No, he would sit and listen to the people's arguments, to his advisors, advice, and he would go, okay, let's do this. Okay, I like that idea. Very good. Anyone else has something like that better? Tell me. Okay, that's a wise leader, listening to other people's opinions and making the best one, making the best choice after hearing them all. Okay, and merciful. Again, he wasn't like kill them all. Anyone who disagrees with me, kill them. No, he was very much like, okay, someone did something. You're gonna get punished. All right, you did wrong, right? You're gonna get punished. Now, I'm not gonna kill you, but you got to make up for that crime, whatever you did. Okay, so he was known as being merciful, whereas other kings would have been, or other leaders would have just killed them or sent them off, exiled them into the desert, or something. So he was a pretty good leader. But the thing is, he only lasted about 29 years, right? Which is at that time was actually pretty long, you know, uh, based off how other kings and people were. That was actually a decent amount of time. Now Darius was the last great ruler of this group. Okay, but after him, oh man, they were just worrying. Those leaders, all they cared about was money, and they were like just about them. They weren't nowhere near like Cyrus. They didn't care about other people. They didn't care about listening to other advisors and people who knew more than they did. They were just like, No, I know better because I'm the leader, So what do I need to hear what you have to say for? They took advantage of their position, and because of that, the loyalty of the people fell. The people would have done basically anything for Cyrus because they loved him, but because of these other leaders' lack of leadership, lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, they lost the loyalty of their people. Eventually, they would be taken over by Alexander the Great. Now, if you listen to the last video, the one you guys were supposed to do on your own, when we're talking about Egypt, you heard me mention Alexander the Great. Okay, I'm trying to get you to realize this dude pops up quite a bit. All right, we're going to be talking about him later on because he is very important when it comes to world history. Okay, so he basically takes over them in 330 BC. All right, so again, since you're by yourself, you're at home watching this video, you can maybe even get help from someone around you, brother, sister, mom, dad, cousin, whomever. Think of some qualities that you would want in your king or queen. Let's say you were the subject, right? And you had to have a king or queen. How would you want them to be? Would you want them to be smart, kind, generous, uh, ruthless, strong mentally, physically? I mean, tell me how would you want them? What kind of qualities would you want them to have? Okay. And then once you make your list, and there should be at least like 5 things, 5 characteristics that you would want in your king or queen, um, and then rank them. Which one do you believe is the most important to have? To at the bottom one, if they don't have it, it's okay. But this top one has to be this second one. They have to have like these two at least in this order because I feel that's the most important. Okay, so make your list. Again, you can use people's help around your house. You can text somebody. If there's nobody else around your house who can help. Like message somebody saying, "Hey, I need your help," and give them the question. And what would they say? Okay. Now remember, this assignment, this is school. So don't put anything inappropriate. Okay. So go ahead, pause the video, do your thing. Again, there will be a section on the Google Docs for that. Okay. Now we've come to the end. So now's your exit ticket. Tell me something you learned today. Okay. Anything that you learned in this class. So if you took notes, bam, you're good to go. You can pick something from there. Something you didn't know, something you just learned today. If you have any other comments that you felt like, hey, I like this, I didn't like this, you could have showed more pictures, whatever. Or if there's something in the class, you're like, I wish you would talk more about this. I want to learn about that. Let me know. Okay, this is the time to let me know. So, with that all being said and everything's done, make sure you submit your Google Docs. That's another thing that some students are forgetting to do. They just type it, they don't submit it, and I never get it. But it's saved under their Google Good Docs, but you've got to submit it. You got to send it in. And make sure that your name is on that first part. It says ask you for your first name, last name. Okay, so be sure you add that. All right, so again, you guys have a good day. You take care and be safe.